जय राधा माधव कुंजा बिहारी। जय राधा माधव कुंजा बिहारी। जय गोपी जन वल्लभा गिरिवरधारी। जय गोपी जन वल्लभा गिरिवरधारी। यशोदनंदना व्रज जनरंजन। यशोदनंदना व्रज जनरंजन। यमुना तीरा वनचारी। यमुना तीरा वनचारी। जय राधा माधव कुंजा बिहारी। जय राधा माधव कुंजा बिहारी। जय गोपी जन वल्लभा गिरिवरधारी। यशोदनंदना व्रज जनरंजन। यमुना तीरा वनचारी। जय राधा माधव कुंजा बिहारी। जय गोपी जन वल्लभा गिरिवरधारी। यशोदनंदना व्रज जनरंजन। यमुना तीरा वनचारी। जय राधा माधव कुंजा बिहारी। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे। हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे। हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे। हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे। हरे राम राम हरे हरे। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे। हरे राम राम हरे हरे। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे। हरे राम राम हरे हरे। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे। हरे राम राम हरे हरे। जय राधा श्याम सुंदर राधा श्याम सुंदर राधे। जय राधा श्याम सुंदर राधा श्याम सुंदर राधे। जय कृष्ण बलराम जय कृष्ण बलराम। जय कृष्ण बलराम जय कृष्ण बलराम। जय जगन्नाथ जय जगन्नाथ जय बलादेवा जय सुभद्रा। जय गौरनिताय जय गौरानिताय जय गौरानिताय जय गौरनिताय। निताय गौर हरि बोल हरि बोल हरि बोल। निताय गौर हरि बोल निताय गौर हरि बोल हरि बोल हरि बोल। निताय गौर हरि बोल। जय सच्चिदानंदना जय सच्चिदानंदना जय सच्चिदानंदना गौर हरे। जय सच्चिदानंदना जय सच्चिदानंदना जय सच्चिदानंदना गौर हरे। गौरा गौरा गौर हरि गौरा गौरा गौर हरि। निताय गौर हरि बोल हरि बोल हरि बोल। निताय गौर हरि बोल। निताय गौरांगो निताय गौरांगो निताय गौरांगो निताय गौरांगो निताय गौरांगो। जय गौर हरि गौरा गौरा गौर हरि गौरा गौरा गौर हरि। निताय गौर हरि बोल हरि बोल हरि बोल निताय गौर हरि बोल मदीय बिहारी गौर हरि मायापुर चंद्रा गौर हरि गौरा गौरा गौर हरि गौरा गौरा गौर हरि निताय गौर हरि बोल निताय गौर हरि बोल जय प्रभु पदा जय प्रभु पदा जय प्रभु पदा जय प्रभु पदा जय जय प्रभुपाद 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 जय जय प्रभुपाद गौर प्रेमानंदे हरि हरि बोल हरि ओम तत्सत एवं विष्णुपाद परमहंस प्रभुराज काचार्य अष्टोत्तर शतश्री श्रीमद डिवाइन ग्रेस एसी भक्ति वेदांत स्वामी श्री प्रभुपाद की जय। एवं विष्णुपाद परमहंस प्रभुराज काचार्य अष्टोत्तर शतश्री श्रीमद डिवाइन ग्रेस श्रील भक्ति सिद्धांत सरस्वती ठाकुर गोस्वामी प्रभुपाद की जय। अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय। नामाचार्य श्री हरिदास ठाकुर की जय। प्रेम से कहो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद श्री श्री राधा कृष्ण गोप गोपीनाथ श्याम कुंड राधा कुंड गिरि गोवर्धन की जय। ब्रजभूमि श्री वृंदावन धाम की जय। नवद्वीप मायापुर धाम की जय। श्री क्षेत्र जगन्नाथपुरी धाम की जय। गंगमयी यमुनामाई की जय। भक्ति देवी तुलसी महारानी की जय। समवेत भक्त वृंद की जय। हरिनाम संकीर्तन की जय। निताय गौर प्रेमानंद हरि हरि बोल। All glories to assembled devotees Hare Krishna. All glories to assembled devotees Hare Krishna. All glories to assembled devotees Hare Krishna. All glories to Shri Guru and Gauranga. Prabhupada की जय। ओम विष्णुपदाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्ति वेदांत स्वामी नामने नमस्ते सारस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचार निर्विशेष शून्यवाद पाश्चात्य। Thank you for joining. Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 1, Creation, Chapter 2, titled Divinity and Divine Service. Very, very important chapter, verse number 11. Let me share the screen also. Okay. 1.2.11 वदन्ति तत्त्वविदस्तत्त्वं यद्ज्ञानम् अद्वयम् ब्रह्मेति परमात्मेति भगवान् इति शब्दयते। वदन्ति तत्त्वविदस्तत्त्वं यद्ज्ञानम् अद्वयम् ब्रह्मेति परमात्मेति भगवान् इति शब्दयते। वदन्ति तत्त्वविदस्तत्त्वं यद्ज्ञानमद्वयं ब्रह्मेति परमात्मेति भगवान् इति शब्दयते। Already offering obeisances. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudirayet. Nasta Prayeshu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya. Bhagavati Uttama Sloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naistiki. Om Tattva. 1.2.11. Yeah, word to word translation. Vadanti, they say, Tat, that, Tattva Vidaha, the learned souls, Tattvam, the absolute truth, Yat, which, Jnanam, knowledge, Advayam, non-dual, Brahma iti, known as Brahman, Paramatma iti, known as Paramatma, Bhagavan iti, known as Bhagavan, Shabdyate. It sounded. It so sounded. Translation by Juvenges, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada ki jai. Learned transcendentalist who know the absolute truth call this non-dual substance Brahman, Paramatma or Bhagavan. Please repeat. Learned transcendentalist who know the absolute truth call this non-dual substance Brahman, Paramatma or Bhagavan. Try to understand. Stop sharing. We'll sing one of the bhajan at the end of the class, Damodarashtam, but before that we'll sing one bhajan very much connected to that. How to, this verse is talking about, as it is mentioned here, the highest truth, understanding the absolute truth, how to attain it. And that is briefly described by one of our great acharyas in our Brahma Madhva Gaudiya Sampradaya, Sri Narottam Das Thakur. So he has sung that bhajan, very nice bhajan. It has nice practical instructions. So Chaya Mataji on the line, she will sing at the end. Okay, so we'll try to understand this particular verse. Om Ajnanatamidandasya Gnananjana Salakaya Chakshurunmilitam Mena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namah Mugam Karoti Vachalam Pangum Langete Grim Yatkrupatamham Vande Sri Gurum Denatarinam Paramananda Madhavam Sri Chaitanya Iswaram Vancha Kalpatarubhyasya Kripa Sandhubheva Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namo Vaishnavebhyo Jai Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Sri Vasadi Gaura Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Om Tat Sat. So in this specific verse we are in the chapter 2 Divinity and Divine Service, verse number 11. Very prominent verse. This is quoted in many places by Srila Prabhupada, Founder Acharya. So it is talking about the philosophy, and that philosophy includes everything, the absolute truth, what it contains, and what it means to us. What do we need to learn here? And then this is connection to the previous verse also. So first chapter is giving the high level details of the questions asked by the Saunaka and other rishis assembled in Naimisharanya. Leader of that assembly is Saunaka Muni. He is asking the questions, 6 questions to Sota Goswami. Even currently also it is there, Naimisharanya place, very famous place. So it is mentioned as what is the ultimate good for the people in general, and what is the essence of all the scriptures. And then why did Krishna appear in the womb of Mother Devaki and Vasudeva, and explain, narrate the pastimes of Guna Avataras, qualitative incarnations, and narrate the pastimes of Leela Avataras. And the last one is, when Krishna left this planet, where did all the religion taken shelter at? These are the 6 questions asked in the first chapter. The whole Srimad Bhagavatam is an answer to those 6 questions. And in brief, those are answered in the second chapter, third chapter. Second and third chapter, pretty much these are answered in brief. But detail means the whole Srimad Bhagavatam is the answer to those 6 questions. So in that, so what is ultimate good for the people in general? We have already seen the answer in 1.2.6. Sukadeva Goswami is Sota Goswami is speaking what Sukadeva Goswami, he has heard from Sukadeva Goswami. So that's what he is repeating. Saunaka's spiritual master Sota Goswami is repeating here, giving the answer. Because they asked what is ultimate good? Ultimate good is to engage in Bhagavad Bhakti, the topmost platform, topmost thing we can do. So what is the topmost dharma of a living entity? It doesn't matter which country, what caste, what creed, what color, from where he is coming from, what background, none of that matter for everybody. So for people in general. Savai pumsam paro dharmo eto bhakti radokshaje ahaituki apradhyata e atma suprasiddhas. And this will give ultimate happiness. So by engaging in Bhagavad Bhakti, Sanatana Dharma, eternal Dharma, all other things came later. so many other types of faiths and all. But the actual Vedic knowledge, scriptures, whether you take four Vedas, or Upanishads, Puranas, Samhitas, so it talks about this specific thing, Sanatana Dharma, that actual original Dharma, the occupation duty of the living entity, which is serving the Supreme Lord as a part and parcel. We are supposed to serve the whole. So the hands is putting the food through the mouth and going to the stomach. From there, everywhere it is getting, energy is getting distributed. So they are not independent. Hands, legs, all other senses are not independent. So it has to work in a harmonious way. Same way the soul as part and parcel of Krishna, Mamai Vamso Jiva Loki Jiva Bhuta Sanatana, eternally we are part and parcel. Then we must serve the whole. So that is what is called the Parodharma, the highest dharma of engaging in the service. The occupational duty of the living entity we can see is every day we are serving. The family members or friends or community members or office team members, somebody or the other, or we are serving animals, whatever, the way some service is there. That service is nothing but actually original rasa, original duty of a living entity is serving the Supreme Lord through him, and then we serve other living entities. Then that brings the ultimate happiness. So that is what is been addressed in the first question. Answer is been given in 1.2.6 and also to the 7 also in that way. And then the second question is, what is the essence of all the scriptures? So that is engaged. That's what is been explained in 7 and 8. Vasudevi Bhagavati Bhakti Yoga. Okay, you mentioned Paro Dharma. And what is the essence? What is that Dharma you are talking about? That Dharma is engaging in loving devotion service to the Supreme Lord. Vasudevi Bhagavati Bhakti Yoga Prayojita. Then what will be the, why should I come? Why should I perform this Bhakti? Then Shastra is explaining, you will get knowledge, understanding by which you can know what to do, what not to do. But also at the same time, you will be able to detach from this worldly condition. The three modes of material nature we are being conditioned. So we will be able to detach from our bodily designation, detach from the sensory perception, detach from the mental speculation, subtle level, gross and subtle level, detach from the ultimately, and then come to the spiritual, actual, our original position, original form, Satchidananda Vigraha. So that is what is explained. That is, knowledge is not enough. Knowledge has to lead to a transformation. Knowledge has to lead to a detachment internal. Not so much about the external detachment. External detachment is called Makkata Vairagya. That means false renunciation. So living entity must perform a duty. Shastra is not recommending anywhere to renounce things. Rather, it is telling to perform things, but internally we should develop detachment because we are doing for Krishna. So in that way, nothing belongs to us. We are not the doer. So that's what Shastra again and again through different verses, different chapters, different medium, Krishna is explaining in different ways, but it's the same point. So that's what here it is mentioned as the answer to the second question. And the second question is further elaborated in all these verses, all the way to 20th verse, almost 30th verse or so, this whole chapter actually. What is the essence of all the scriptures, because we have to understand detail. So there, after explaining, okay, you have to perform bhakti because to come to that paro dharma, to get the ultimate happiness. Yes, then what will the result? You will get the knowledge, what to do, what not to do, but you will also get the detachment internally and the gradual progress and practice. To the extent we follow, to that extent these things will happen. And then what about many people may not come to this, but then what about that? What about them? So then that has been explained. And what should be the ultimate goal? And should we do? Because there are Chaturveda Purushartha, Shastra is explaining, especially Vedas, four Vedas are especially predominantly talking about the Chaturveda Purushartha, which is Dharma, Artha, Kama and Moksha. Dharma means religiosity, religious principles, some rules and regulations. Dharma, Artha means economic development. Then because we want to perform these religious principles, we want to get some Artha. In return something. We want to do business. So we want to get something in return from God. That is what Dharma is leading to Artha. Then Artha is leading to, what will we do with that Artha? To use for our own enjoyment. Not in connection with Krishna, but our own enjoyment. That is called kama. Dharma, artha, kama means the desires to fulfill our own desires, independent of Krishna. That is called kama. Then moksha. Then ultimately, okay, when they are vexed with these things, then they want to get liberation. Although that is explained in these 3 points. That absolute truth is divided into 3 points. We'll come to that. So in this way, so here it is explained in this specific verse where it is defined as ultimate goal. What is the ultimate goal of life? Is it to perform dharma? Is it just religious principle without understanding why should I perform? What is the end goal actually? What will make permanent? Okay, today I am performing, tomorrow, last life also I perform. This is the same thing, dharma, artha, kama. Then where is exactly is leading on to? So why I am suffering? Why I am being forced? That is the first. That is what this 1.2.11 primarily talking about. Why am I being forced? So let me inquire. Why am I taking? Why I have to take up this particular body in this family, this position? Why I am going through these troubles? Why I am being put into conditioning by my own body and my senses, my mind, and by other living entities? Why I am getting distress and why I am getting distress from these demigods? Adi Bhautika, Adi Atmika from our own body and mind and senses, and Adi Bhautik is external living entities, insects and mosquitoes and dogs and whatnot. It could be anybody, other living entities, other humans also. Then Adi Daivik is external catastrophes coming from demigods. To the degree we follow the rules, laws of the government, to that degree, just like sometimes we get penalty for the tax, we get penalty for the not following the rule of driving irregularly or going a high speed limit. So any of those kind of evade the taxes, you name it. Anytime we don't follow, then we have to pay the penalty. We have to get that reaction. Same way, the demigods are also looking into that. What are exactly this particular city, community, country, what they have done in the past, what they are doing now, so how much they are following. Accordingly, sometimes it's not just individual, collective. Sometimes you see that collectively the whole aeroplane goes into the river or ocean. Everybody, all persons, whoever is there in that, they all get disappeared. They leave the bodies at the same time. So that is simultaneously is happening. So that's because sometimes because karma is so intricate, like 100 sons of Dhritarashtra were killed. At the same time, he was very much, Gandhari was very much bewildered. Was cursed Krishna, so that's why Yadu dynasty was killed. And obviously that is Krishna's in the grand scheme of things, that is Krishna's plan. So that's why it has happened that also. So multiple things, karma is not just one thing we think of. No, it has so many things interrelated. So all those gets connected. So that's why it is very important to understand this Tattva. Absolute truth. It is called Tattva. That's why Krishna is explaining in Bhagavad Gita again and again that understand this truth. Manushyanam sahasreshu kaschit yatata siddhaye yatatam siddhanam kaschinma veti tattvataha. It is very difficult. Many people, out of many thousands of people, one may come to understand this Tattva. One may inquire about this Tattva. Actual, what is the reality, what is not reality. Why am I forced? That is why it is Vedanta Sutra begins. That means Vedas are all talking about this. When it says Vedanta means end of all Vedas, end of all the knowledge of the Vedas, because it is talking about Dharma, Artha, Kama, Moksha. It is talking about if you worship this demigod, then you will get this benefit. If you do this, then you will get this benefit. Always talking about some business exchange only. Nothing pure. It's talking something to get in return. So it is like giving some something to the kids. Okay, I will give you chocolate. Can you do this? Or something like bribing. So that kind of, it's not actual pure thing. Obviously, if it is not pure, obviously it won't give ultimate happiness, especially in a transcendental reality. So material things, it won't give anyway. Even if it is a pure gold, it won't give happiness anyway. But we are talking about that the spiritual level. So that's all the Vedas are talking about this Dharma, Artha, Kama, and finally Moksha at a little bit. That's why it's Veda Vada Ratapardha. Krishna is mentioning in Bhagavad Gita. Many people are attracted by this flowery language of the Vedas. They get attracted. Oh, I'll get this benefit. Let me perform some mystic perfection. Let me do some yogas, different types of yogas. These days, especially, this is prominent. Yogas, everybody is opening this yoga centers and teaching different types of yogas. Everybody wants to open them. But so that is coming to giving some kind of benefits. So like this, karmis are performing something to get some benefits. This planet are going to higher planet, enjoy something, and the moon planet thousands of years, or some other planet, or in this planet want to enjoy, get a lot of opulence and enjoy. So that is karmi's business. The jnani's business are keep on speculating, reading the Shastra, Upanishads especially. They are so much engrossed in the reading the Vedas and Upanishads and Shastra, but not realizing the fully. It is mentioned that avisuddha buddhaya. That means their intelligence is not purified. So they are intelligent. They are using their speculative ideas, thoughts. That's why it is mentioned when the Tattva is not understood by the guidance of the disciplic succession and a bona fide spiritual master, there is a great disturbance. There is a fall down. Even the living entity, the jnanis, that's why they enter into Brahma Jyoti, then they fall down from there also. Because they are not following the actual authority, the Shastra and disciplic succession. So that's when they have to fall down from that position. So, time being, they might be entering into the Brahma Jyoti, merging into God, then they will come down again because there is no variety. So, we'll come to that in this whole verse 1.2.11. But before that, this prelude is very important to understand. So, that's what all the way, that's why the Shastra Bhagavad Gita begins with Vedanta. Means when somebody understands, oh, I'm keep on doing the same business, but nothing really is happening. It is not giving any sublime happiness. I'm still being forced in every species of life, in every life I'm taking. So then the question arises. That's when this is called Vedanta, which is that's why Vedanta Sutra is there. After writing 4 Vedas, Upanishads, Samhitas, then it is coming to the milk after boiling so much. Then obviously it has to come to the essence of rabdi or some milk sweets we make out of paneer. So that same thing after reading all these 4 Vedas, Upanishads, Samhitas, everything, then it has to come to the Vedanta. So that is Vedanta Sutra is start with this Atato Brahma Jignasa. That means one must inquire about the absolute truth. Jignasa means inquiry, Brahma means the absolute truth. That we are also the minute living entity is also called Brahman, but we are minute Brahman. We are minute. We are Anu. But the actual Supreme Lord is actually Parabrahman. Let's say. So sometimes people may say Brahman means everything. No. The self and super self. The soul and the super soul. The soul, the self, the minute Brahman is the living entity. But the Supreme Lord is the super soul, the Parabrahman, the greatest. So that's how it is clearly defined in the Shastra. So that Vedanta Sutra begins with that first. One must inquire in disciplic succession in a bona fide spiritual from a bona fide spiritual master. Otherwise, there is a great disturbance. There is no way. What will happen? Only will receive the actual bija, the seed of bhakti in the heart from the bona fide spiritual master and bona fide. If you don't do that, what is the result? Why should I do? Shastra is telling, we will receive karma bija, will receive jnana bija, will receive yoga bija. Other bijas, other seeds, other than the pure thing which is bhakti, seed of bhakti. This must be sown by a bona fide person in a bona fide sampradaya. Otherwise, you will get on the name of bhakti. There could be so many other things they can teach or they can give. So that it means we are not getting the actual pure seed. In these days, we can see that Monsanto and so many companies going. Hardly everything is changed, genetically modified. So that's how in Kali Yuga things are. So then there is no special thing to say. So even on the name of religion, on the name of these principles of absolute truth, and they are also modifying on the name of bhakti. You come up with your own idea of tilak, you come up with your, instead of why 2 lines only, let's put 3 lines, 4 lines, or let's put this dot, let's put this, add this, that. So many things they will come up with. It is not defined in the Shastra. Any time it is not defined in the Shastra, we come up with our own ideas, thoughts, that is coming under mental speculation. So that's not going to really transform the heart. So that is what Shastra, that's why this particular verse is important. So that's why in the 9th and 10th verses, Krishna, here, Sota Goswami is explaining, ultimate goal of life is not to engage in or whatever the ardha we are going to get, money and resources, not to utilize for our own enjoyment. So, Yascheha Karma, what is that? Kamasya na indriya pritir, labor jiveta yavata. Kama means kamasya na indriya pritir. Indriya means senses. Senses shouldn't be like because I have got some money, I have got these resources. That doesn't mean that Shastra is not telling to utilize, as well Vedanta is not, Sutra is not telling. And the ultimate Vedanta Sutra is the actual natural commentary of Vedanta Sutra is Srimad Bhagavatam. So that's why the highest prominence is given to Srimad Bhagavatam. One who studies carefully of Srimad Bhagavatam regularly, then there is a guarantee that they will get transformed and they will ultimately attain the supreme destination. That is guaranteed in Srimad Bhagavatam, end to end. From the beginning to end, we see that assurance is being given. So all other cheating things are rejected. So that's why it is important here. It is mentioned. Na kamasya na indriya pritir. Labho jiveta yavata. Jignasa atma tattvam. So jignasa, that's why it is connected. So one must inquire about this truth, tattva, tattvataha. So that's why this same thing is mentioned now, because 9 and 10 are talking about, okay, your ultimate goal is not to use for your own enjoyment. It is to ultimately, it has to lead to the perfection. It has to lead to the developing love, reviving our lost relationship with the Supreme Lord. That is what the essence of all the scriptures is, how to revive our lost relationship. So that's why this now 11th verse has come about. It is talking about philosophy, because what is this tattva means? When you say tattva, what exactly it is? So that's why it's, here this specific verse, so the Goswami is quoting, Vadanti tattva vidas tattvam yad gnanam advayam brahmeti paramatmeti bhagavan iti sabde. Vadanti, it is being told by who? He is not saying, I am telling you, you listen. No, he is telling the learned acharyas, the transcendentalists, they have told this. That means he has heard from Sukadeva Goswami, he is speaking based on what he has heard from authorized sources. So, Vadanti Tattva Vedas Tattvam. Tattva Veda means who has understood, who has realized it, not theoretically. Many we see that in the commentaries, or many might be speaking just on the theoretically. But no, it must be realized practically. That's when only we will see transformation. Like example of Ramanujacharya, Madhvacharya, Nimbarka Swami, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, even the current Acharya Sri Prabhupada. So we see the transformation because he didn't theoretically just, whatever he has heard, he is not just speaking. He has realized himself. He was able to talk to God, he has realized fully. So that's why he is able to transform. He has himself transformed first and then he has transformed all others. So that's why that is the significance. So that's why it is not just theory. And so the 11 sources has been told, has confirmed this after they realized it. So Vadanti Tattva Vidas Tattvam Yat Gnanam. So that Tattva, absolute truth, has many factors. So and then Chaitanya Charitamrita Kar, Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami, one of the great acharyas in our line, is telling this. So what is this tattva? The tattva contains, nice verse is there. Yeah. So it contains tattva of Krishna, Supreme Lord Sri Krishna's tattva, understanding him, what it means. When we say Krishna, what exactly it includes, what it means. That is number one. When we say tattva. Number two, the principles of devotion service, bhakti tattva. Because tattva has many characteristics. So Krishna tattva, bhakti tattva, then you have prema tattva, that means loving, love, actual, real, genuine love. So that's what prema tattva. Then we have to understand bhava tattva, the ecstatic manifestations of the pure living entity. And that is the bhava tattva. Then coming to the rasa tattva. How many rasa? What exactly this rasa? Rasa is translated as melos. Melos. So various rasas are there. We'll go into the detail. So the rasa tattva. Then so that we understand Krishna tattva, Bhakti tattva, you have Prema tattva, then Rasa tattva, then one more. What is that? Leela tattva. Leela tattva means pastime of the Supreme Lord. So it's not easy to understand because we could speculate in different ways by hearing some pastime. But we have to understand from the realized sources so that when we understand all these aspects, these 5 or 6 aspects, let me quote that verse also, so that it is in Madhya Leela, I couldn't remember, Madhya Leela chapter 25, verse number 265. Krishna Tata Bhakti Tattva, Prema Tattva Sar, the essence. Bhava Tattva, Rasa Tattva, Leela Tattva Ara. One must realize. So in this way, these are the 6 aspects are there. And we say, Vadanti Tattva Vidat Tattvam. That Tattva contains these 6 aspects. Who has told Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has instructed Srila Rupa Goswami and Sanatana Goswami, great acharyas. So we are called Rupanugas. We follow under the Rupa Goswami, 6 Goswamis. They are exalted because they have given up everything. They simply executed on this principle of highest dharma. Nana Shastra Vicharanaika Nipuno Sadharma Samstapakau. So they have studied all the scriptures very scrutinizingly. They know multiple languages, English, Hindi and Bengali and Parsi, Zoroastrian, many languages and many books from many religions. So many types of books they have studied. After studying all the Shastra, then they have written the essence. Before that, they have been instructed by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu what this tattva, all the 6 tattvas have been instructed to Rupa Goswami and also Sanatana Goswami. Both are brothers. Both have written these books after receiving the instruction in a disciplic succession from Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So that's why we can understand this now in today because it is coming down from directly from Krishna in the form of a devotee appeared in the mood of Srimad Radharani from Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So where it is explained here, so when we go into the detail, we will come to these 6 things. First, let's understand the verse high level, then we will go to the detail. So, Tattvam, Yad Gnanam Advayam. First thing is Advayam means, Dvaya means 2 things, that is duality. Advayam means no duality. So, what it is been mentioning here is Advayam means the Supreme Lord, there is no duality. What does that mean? The subject and object is same. That is Krishna. So, how is that possible? When we say, okay, we want to drink water, that means we are the subject, we are looking for an object, that is water, to satisfy us. So, subject and object are 2 different things. It is not the same thing. But in Krishna's case, it is mentioned in Advayam, there is no duality. So, subject and object is same. Prabhupada is writing in the purport, that line, that subject and object is same in this case. So, it is so because the object, ultimate goal, Ashraya, we call Vastu, is the Supreme Lord Shri Krishna. That is object. But the subject is also Krishna. Why? There is energy and energetic. The source, the Vastu, ultimate goal, ultimate shelter is Krishna. But from him, everything is coming. That means all the energies are coming. So that's why in that context, the energy and energetic, in one sense, there is no duality. There is no difference in qualitative. So in that way, it is Shastra is mentioning is Advayam, non-dual. That doesn't mean because they can interpolate this particular word and they can squeeze their own meanings. Those who are on the Mayavadis and Brahmavadis, those who are on the Gnana platform or the Yoga platform. Oh, it is mentioned as Advayam. So that means everything is one. I am God, you are God, everybody is God. Then if you are God, everybody is God, then why you are suffering from toothache, why you are suffering from bodily pains, why you are suffering so much life after life? If you are God, then you should be really happy, you should be solving the problems by yourself. Why do you need to depend on somebody else? So that is, but that question doesn't get arised in their minds, because they are fully trying to use their own intelligence to speculate, not based on the authority, on the Shastra and through Guru and Sadhu. So that is the problem. So that's why when we say Advayam, so Shastra is telling there is a non-difference in terms of the quality, subject and object. That means energy and energetic. So let's understand that energy and energetic. Energetic means from him, from Krishna, he has many energies. So Parasya Shaktir Vividaiva Sruyate Swabhavaki Gnana Bala Kriyacha. Parasya Shaktir, Krishna has various energies. Predominantly it is categorized as Jiva Shakti, that is Tattva Shakti, is also marginal energy. And then you have Maya Shakti, which is external energy, Prakriti, which is material manifestation. So the controller of that is Durga Devi. Three modes of material manifestation is all coming under that external energy, Maya Shakti. And it has subcategories we have discussed in one of the class previously. I will not go into the detail. So then Jiva Shakti is, and then Maya Shakti. Then actual powerful one is the internal energy of the Lord, which is Antaranga Shakti. So Antaranga Shakti, Bahiranga Shakti, and Tatastha Shakti. Different terminologies, technical terms. Antaranga means internal energy, Bahiranga means external energy, and then Tatastha means marginal. Tatastha means because we have a choice. We can choose to turn towards Krishna, or we can choose to turn towards the external energy. So that's why we get sometimes bewildered and then run towards mirage of this external energy. We want to become Krishna, like Krishna, want to become like God. So that's when we have been coming here to this material world, when that thought arises. So in this way, that now that we understand that energy and Parasya Shaktir Vividaiva Sruyate Swabhavaki Gnana Bala Kriyacha. But Krishna is self-sufficient. He doesn't need to depend on anybody. He is not being forced. When he is appearing, he is coming by own will, free will, his own choice. He is not being forced. We are being forced. We are being forced to appear a certain form. We are being forced to get certain troubles and pains and pleasures and happiness and distress. Time to time, we are getting by force. Nobody wants distress, but it is coming. Because it is based on what activities we have done, we are being forced by the material nature. Because material nature is observing what we have done, then reactions, it is giving the reactions. So, but in terms of the Supreme Lord, he is the self-sufficient, and he is not being, he is not conditioned, he is not forced when he is coming. So, that's what we see in chapter 4 of Bhagavad Gita. Krishna himself is explaining that when he will come. Whether he will come by force or he is coming by his own sweet will. That is explained in 4.6, verse number 6, 7 and 8 and 9. So those verses Krishna is explaining clearly. So by his own internal free will, internal energy, he wants to give the pleasure to his devotees, his cows. So that is the main purpose he is coming, and then take them back. Share the top lines and take them back to the spiritual eternal world. So that is when these devotees get harassed, that is the secondary purpose, to kill, to annihilate those people who are harassing these devotees. So that is mentioned. So in that way we understand Parasya Shaktir Vividaya Sruyate Swabhavaki Gnana Bala Kriyacha. So Natasya Karyam Karanam Cha Vidyate. He doesn't have any duty to perform, but still he will come because he is the leader, so that everybody else will follow. But he doesn't have any material duty to perform. He doesn't need to come, but he is only coming to give pleasure to his devotees and cows. So in this way it is explained that non-dual means that's what it is. Simultaneously one in quality with God. All these energies, internal energies, Srimad Radharani, Lakshmi Devi, all the different, even Durga Devi, all are coming from that internal energy. And then that also has a division, many divisions. That also we have discussed before. Then external energy is not being conditioned. He doesn't have any duty to perform. So when he is coming, he is only coming to perform his sweet pastimes. So that's why he doesn't get conditioned and he doesn't have any duty. Lord Vishnu has a duty. And Lord Shiva has a duty, Lord Brahma has a duty, everybody, but Lord Krishna doesn't have any duty. All his duty is just engage in loving pastimes with his various types of devotees, different rasas, different melos, different bhavas, different ecstatic symptoms. So all these are with a prema, imbued with love and affection, with these all these different rasas. So that's why this tattva has to be understood. Then it is explained further. Brahmeti Paramatmiti Bhagavan iti Shabdete. So that absolute truth is categorized in one section. There are so many categories, so many types of, so many ways we can understand this truth. As we are explained already 6 types. But there is another way to look at the actual Krishna's form or personality or his energies also in this way. I mean, not energies, actual is absolute truth categorized in these 3 different ways. It's all Krishna, but it is categorized. It has a hierarchy. It has a levels. The first level is Brahman realization. Second level is Paramatma realization. The highest one is the actual personal form of the Lord, Bhagavan realization. And so that is what here it is mentioned as Brahmeti, Paramatmeti, Bhagavan iti Sabdete. And Prabhupada gives that example as sun. We are getting the sun is situated all the way somewhere else, so many miles distant, and then sun rays, we are getting the sun rays. So, and then the sun planet is there. From where the sun rays is coming? Sun rays is coming from sun planet. The sun rays is like Brahmajyoti, Brahman effulgence, and sun planet is like a Paramatma, and then actual person, but there is a person behind it. We all know only sun planet. But actually, there is a person behind the sun planet who is running the show. His name is Vivaswan in this particular day of Brahma. So, because different Manus change, different demigod change. Sun is also demigod, Surya Deva. 33 million demigods are there in whole in this universe. So, his name is Surya's name is Vivaswan. So, the actual Surya personality, that means that is the Bhagavan. That example, sun is actual person. From him the sun planet is there because of him, and he is maintaining that sun planet, and from there sun rays are coming. So in this way it is getting distributed. Ekadesa sthitasya josna vistarani yata. So in this way one place it is situated, but it is getting dispersed and distributed. In the same way, like a company owner, CEO might be there, and then he has his chief of staff, and then from there he is not there in each and every place for a company to run, for any business to run. So obviously through his instructions, through his rules, through his power, then things are getting carried out, things are getting done. He doesn't need to be personally there in each and every place, each and every duty, each and every signature. Now, officially the high level he gets passed down, and then everything else gets done by his subordinates. So in this way, that is also in these 3 categories. So the lowest, the smallest, and that is explained, the Brahman realization, the effulgence. But actually where it is coming from, because some may think the Jnanis, and then let's understand that Brahman, Paramatma, Bhagavan, who worships what? So the Jnanis, the Jnanis, those who are studying Shastra and especially the Vedas, especially they are so much into the Vedas, Upanishads, Samhitas, to understand from that, using their own mind and intelligence to understand the Shastra and God, and then they approach, they think that Brahman realization, Brahman effulgence is the ultimate. Viraja river, you name it. It is also called Nirbeda Brahma Anusandhan, merging into God. Nirbeda means, Beda means variety, difference. Nirbeda means no variety. Anusandhan means mixing, merging. Nirbeda Brahma Anusandhan. They want to merge into God. They think that right now we are being conditioned, we are God. So right now I am conditioned, but at some point when I take sannyas, when I perfect, then I will become God. So everybody else can also become God. Then I want to merge into God when I perfect. So that is the one of the. So one of in that also the different flavors are there. Those who are Mayavadis, so they have a different flavor. That is even more dangerous. So at least Brahmavadis, they want to merge into Brahman is the highest thing they think. So Mayavadi, they cannot even come to that. So it takes even more long time. So because they think they are God, as soon as they take sanya, then they call Narayan themselves. So which is not as per it is not in line with Shastra. Narayan is not ordinary. Narayana para abhyakta. When nothing was there, only not Narayana was there. Narayana eko asit, na Brahma na Rudra. Brahma Jayate, Rudra Jayate is all explained in Purusha Sukta and other literature clearly that only Lord Narayan was there. Neither Rudra nor Brahma nor any of these demigods were there. So, because Lord Narayan is not ordinary person to name it or thinking that we became Narayan. So that's because of that Avisuddha Buddha, impure thoughts, then they will not be able to perfect, they will not be able to transform themselves. This is the business of jnanis. And then those who are yogis, mystic perfect, they are looking for some kind of benefits of mystic perfection. 9 kinds of mystic perfections are there, which is anima, lagima, prakamya, vasita, ishta. So in this way there are 9 kinds, means become smaller than smallest, larger than largest. Sometimes we see that Naga Babas and others, these yogis, they can just minute they think they can move from one place to another place, different countries, any part of this world, they can move from one place to another place. They can jump from one planet to another planet, but that also requires a tremendous practice. When they perfect them, after so much austerity, so much practice, then they come to that. But that is also temporary, because all these planets get annihilated. So the yogis also, so that's why that is called Ashtanga Yoga or Hatha Yoga. And Shastra is clearly telling, Bhagavad Gita is clearly telling in 6th chapter, Krishna is telling about this Ashtanga Yoga, Hatha Yoga. And at the end, Krishna is telling, even for them, in order for them to come to that Vaikuntha, liberate from their condition, otherwise they will merge into Brahman effulgence, even after meditating on this Paramatma. They are meditating on the form of the Lord, which is there as a super soul in everybody's heart. So let's understand that. It is mentioned as Esya Prabha Prabhavato Jagadanda Koti Kotish Asesha Vasudadi Bhut Vinnam Tad Nishkalam Anantam Asesha Bhutam Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajam. So Esya Prabha Prabhavato Koti. Prabha means this effulgence. Prabhavato Koti is influence. Because of the influence of the Supreme Lord Sri Krishna through his toenails, that effulgence is coming through so many universes, not one. Jagadanda Koti. And Koti is unlimited universes, unlimited. We are just one smallest universe. There are millions of universes, but that is only 1/4 of the creation. 3/4 of the creation is in the spiritual world. 1/4 only is this material world. It is like a prison house compared to a country or city. So prison house is only small area. The rest of the area is actually rest of the country. They all follow the rules. That's why there is a Nitya Siddha. Those are perfected souls. They never get a condition. They always want to serve Krishna. They are there in that 3/4 area. And then those who doesn't want to follow the rule, they want to become the master, they want to become the God. They are being called as conditioned souls, Nitya Baddha. Eternal, they are going life after life. So that's why Shastra is clearly telling, Prahlad Maharaj is telling in the 7th and 5th chapter, I think 26 or something. Ate vidus swarthagatim durasya bhairaddhaman anda yatandair upaniyamana tepishu tantra urudam nibadde. We are being bound by the ropes. We are not understanding what is the goal actually. Ate vidus swarthagatim. We are not realizing what is our actual swartha. What is the actual swarthagati? Ultimate destination. What is our real aim of life? Because of that, they are being cheated. They are following the blind leaders, and the leaders are blind. They are also becoming blind, because by following the blind leaders, they are also becoming blind, and they are not able to understand where they are being pushed down by this material nature. 3 modes of material nature. Just like Prabhupada gives wonderful example, like the bull is tied with ropes where in the nose, and then through that ropes, that is 3 modes of material nature, is acting heavily, and bull wants to go here and there, but is being controlled very tightly with these ropes put in the nose, so it cannot go anywhere. If it moves here and there, then they take a stick and put that on the back, then it goes in the right direction. So in this way, it is being the same way the living, and Shastra is telling, same way the living entities are also being controlled, being forced to accept a particular type of body. And Shastra is also telling, There are 4 categories, 8.4 million species are there in 4 categories. What are those? Andaja, Udbaja, Udbija, and the Svedaja, and then Jarayuja. There are 4 categories. Andaja means eggs. So birds and snakes, reptiles, all these are born by in the form of eggs, through eggs. So that is one type of living entity. So then you have Svedaja, through the perspiration, the insects, different types of insects, and that's why you see the perspiration, the water, or different kinds of liquids, amniotic liquids in the pregnancy and in the mother's womb. What is there? So many insects are there. So the baby is there in that particular liquid. So many insects are biting. And he's crying, he's praying. But as soon as he comes out, as soon as in touch with these 3 modes of matter, finished. He doesn't remember anything. What he was doing in that 9 months. So that is the condition. We have chosen to come, and then we are suffering. So that's why Shastra is telling here. So Andaja, through eggs, that certain type of living entities like the snakes and the birds, reptiles are coming. Then you have Svedaja, perspiration, insects and bugs, various types of bugs. So much family is there, insect family. I think some number is there. Krumayo Rudra Sankhaya. I think 3 lakhs or 2 lakhs or something. And then you have Andaja, Svedaja, then you have what is that? Jarayuja. This is the human beings. Higher human beings is demigods and ordinary is ourself. So that is Jarayuja. That means we are being born by embryo. So pregnancy means embryo. So that is Jarayuja. Then Andaja, Svedaja, and then you have one more Udbija. Means the trees, plants, creepers, seed. Through perspiration, through eggs, through embryos. In this way, the living entity is being forced, like a bull is being forced, tied with the ropes in the nose. Same with the living entity is being forced by the external energy, the material nature, being forced by the 3 modes of material nature, forced into one of these 4 categories, and then there are 8.4 million, 400,000 types of human beings are there. You have this Devas, Siddhas, Charanas, Kinnaras, Kimpurushas, like this, and different planets within this one universe. So all these are different kinds of human beings. So like that, different kinds of birds, different kinds of animals start with aquatics, because the universe has started creating with water. So that's why it starts with aquatics. Then ultimately the highest is the human beings. But only human beings can acquire. So that's why it is very, this whole tattva to understand. You can understand now how much depth is there to understand. So when we follow the blind leaders, what will happen? And when we follow the Shastra from bona fide Acharya and bona fide Sampradaya, then what will happen? How we will know? So we will be able to know clearly everything. What is not correct, what is correct, and what is the right path, what is not right path. So it is clearly, Shastra is clearly laying out the details. So that's why here it is mentioned as Brahman, Paramatman, Bhagavan. The karmis, obviously those who want to perform fruitive activity, they are always going here and there. Some exchanges, some ardha they are performing as well, dharma, religious principles, some performing sacrifice, some worship, getting in return. Then obviously they will either live in this planet or they will go to higher planets, enter into moon planet or enjoy some time, and then they come back again. They may be human beings, most of the time they may not be, because when the pious credits are finished, then that's it. Then they have to take lower species again, depending on how they use that pious credits. If they use them for their enjoyment, drinking and whatnot, then obviously what they will become? They have to become lower species. They cannot get a human birth, because it is based on activities only. The reactions are coming. The material nature, external energy is giving. Okay, you are being forced. You are going to get this body at the time of death. You are going to change this body, and then enter into soul is entering into another body through subtle bodies, being carrying the impressions what we have in this life of mind, intelligence, false ego, and then entering into the next body. 7 months of sushupti, the sleeping period is there. There is the dreaming, there is wakefulness, the sushupti, jagrati, sushupti, and swapna. And dreaming state is every day we are dreaming while sleeping. So that is the dreaming state, semi-conscious. And then sushupti means 7 months period we are not cognizant. And that is also, that Sushupti is also when the one day of Brahma annihilation happens, the living entities are in the abdomen of Mahavishnu. That is also called Sushupti. That means completely we're unconscious. It is like when somebody is in the ventilator, sometimes coma. So that kind of unconscious state, Sushupti. They didn't lose their actual living force. Still they have a life, but still they are unconscious. That is also one state. So in this way, Shastra is telling the karmis, they enter into different planets within the material world. But those who are performing Jnana Yoga, Jnanis, then they will enter into Brahma Jyoti, Brahman effulgence, which is coming from actually this actually rays and the effulgence is coming from the Supreme Lord. It is not independent. So they think that Brahman is the 360 degrees, that is all in all, everything. Actually, Brahman is the original source. But Shastra is clearly telling Brahman is not the original source. There is a person behind it. So in this way we understand, so that Brahman realization is only just one first step, not the highest step, and there is no variety in that. Even though sometimes like the four Kumaras had the Brahman realization, later on when they are in touch with the Supreme Lord, when they touch with the devotees, then they became the personalists, they became the Bhakti Yogis. So that's why in the 6th chapter we see that. So the Brahman realization is not the ultimate, and there is a chance, there is a 99.9% chance is to fall down from that Brahman effulgence. Again we enter into the material world. Then we may perform, open hospitals and do philanthropic work. Because it is not giving happiness, then they start doing that good activities, goodness, mode of goodness. But that is not the ultimate result. It is not really giving. Still there is suffering. Still there are disturbances. Because as soon as you got material body in this life, in this world, then we have to go through that. There is no end to that. So then Paramatma realization are, those are yogis, Hatha yogis, Ashtanga yogis. They can try to get mystic perfections following this Shat Chakra Yoga, which is different koshas, chakras are there. Starting from below navel to chest to neck, and then you have Brahma. So 6 chakras are there, Shat Chakra Yoga they call. Then they have to bring that life force from below to all the way to Agna Chakra, which is there in the above the head and the center hole, Agna Chakra. So that is their idea. But it takes long time, many years, even them to come to, where they will go, they are meditating on the Paramatma form, the super soul. I forgot to mention about the Paramatma form. So we understood Brahman form is nothing but the rays, the effulgence, just like the sun rays are coming to us. Same way from the toenails of the Supreme, even sun is getting also the effulgence coming from the Supreme Lord toenails. The whole spiritual world, it doesn't need any, na tadbhasayate suryo na sisanko na pavakayat gatvana nivartante taddam paramam. It doesn't need any sun or moon. It is naturally being lightened up. Same way from there, spiritual world, from Supreme Lord Sri Krishna, sun is getting its energy, the light, the heat, and also this Brahman effulgence is also the source. That's why it is mentioned is the Esya Prabha Prabhavata Koti. So where it is coming through, through these 3 Mahavishnus, so Karanodaka Sai Vishnu, Garbhodaka Sai Vishnu, and Kshirodaka Sai Vishnu. So that Kshirodaka Sai Vishnu, so that effulgence is coming from the toenails. And now the Paramatma realization, which is super soul. Who is that super soul? That super soul is one of the 3 Vishnus we call Purusha avatars. So they are the actual Purusha, real Purusha. Because the Lord Vishnu, Lord Krishna is called Purusha. We are the Prakriti, superior and inferior. This Jada Jagat is inferior, the living end is superior because we have higher consciousness. So the Kshirodaka Sai Vishnu is called Paramatma. So that is only in the material world, it is temporary. This in the material world, even in the demigod, they have a Paramatma. The Supreme Lord as Kshirodaka Sai Vishnu is guiding, and the living end is situated. It is mentioned Ishvara, what is that? Hriddeshobjana Tishtati, Brahmayati, Sarvabhutani Yantra Rudani Maya. So Supreme Lord as Paramatma is situated, he is guiding, because somebody has to guide what to do, what not to do. And he'll keep on guiding. Paramatma is a second bird. 2 birds are there. It is mentioned as Anumanta, Upadrashta, Sakshne, Bhakta, Bhokta, Maheshwara. He is there, he is sitting in the same way next to the soul. Super soul is also there as Paramatma. He is guiding. Don't do this, you are going to suffer. So that's why sometimes we get that thought, but then we still go ahead and do it because senses are so much caught up. Even though we know that it is not right. Even Dhritarashtra is telling. What you are instructing me, Krishna, Vyasdev, you are telling me right, but I cannot do it. So that means you can see Krishna as Paramatma is guiding, personally he also came and guiding, but he couldn't do it. So that means pious traits are not there, wrong association, so much. So what he has done in the past life and with whom, what kind of activity he has performed. So that all implicates the living entity. He is not independent actually, because he is being forced. He cannot, even though he knows that it is not right thing to do, but still he is being forced to carry that because of the imprints in the chitta, the mind, the senses. The lust is situated in all these places. The senses, mind, and intelligence, everything got corrupted. Then he is being forced. It is like in a mode of ignorance. For those who are completely intoxicated, if you give any instruction they can follow, they will not be able to follow it because they are being intoxicated. Same way when the lust is situated in all these three places, they cannot understand. Ignorance is bliss. They will not take up, but they will not understand even if you force them, because they are completely in a different world. So that's why it is very important to understand. So this is coming from Paramatma. Super soul is who's the one who's guiding what is not right, what is right. But we are not able to understand that. That's why again he is coming. Paramatma is coming. Super soul as a Chaitya Guru is coming out as spiritual master. He is the one. That's why it is mentioned Sakshad Haritvena Samasta Shastre Uktastadava Vatayeva Sadvi. Spiritual master is not different from Krishna. So Krishna is mentioned to Uddhava in 11th canto. So there is no difference. He is my representative. Don't think that he is different personality and don't offend him, because that is going to create a great disturbance in your life. Minute we offend the spiritual master, the sadhus, advanced devotees, those especially those who are dedicated their life in distributing Krishna. Krishna doesn't like. Krishna can get offended, he doesn't take it seriously. But when his devotees get harassed or offended, then Krishna cannot handle it. Krishna right away takes an action, a reaction will get immediately. So that's it's like a mad elephant. Everything gets destroyed when a mad elephant enters into a garden. Same way our whatever we have accumulated, everything gets one shot, can get destroyed. So that's why we have to be very careful. So our pious credits can get nullified pretty quickly. And so when we perform this kind of activity. So that's why that Paramatma realization is nothing but Kshirodaka Sai Vishnu as Paramatma. That's why even Brahma, all these demigods, when there is a problem, they go to this place. It is Kshirodaka ocean. In each and every universe, there is a place called Kshirodaka ocean, which is like a Vaikuntha within the material world. So that's where all these demigods go when there is a problem. And Brahma starts, Brahma is the representative of all demigods, and then he starts praying, chanting this Purusha Sukta prayer, Sahasra Sirsha Purusha Sahasrakshan Sahasrapat. So, how Krishna, how is in the Kshirodaka, he is everywhere pervaded, he is there in every atom, his hands, his legs, his eyes, his head, his brain, everywhere it is pervading, because he is omnipotent, omniscient, he knows everything, what's happening in each and every place. So they are chanting that Purusha Sukta prayers clearly. So then they will send the message. What is the problem? Then they cannot even see the Lord. Lord is there in the middle of that ocean, Kshirodaka ocean, Milky Ocean. Then they get back the feedback message back to in their heart of Brahma, and then Brahma translate to all the demigods what they have to do, how to resolve the problem. So in this way they communicate. So you can imagine that the great demigod itself, they cannot understand the Supreme Lord in a Tattva, in a full, and then they cannot even approach Supreme Lord, they cannot see face to face when they want. So it's not easy. That means we have to realize, we have to come to perfection. We really want Krishna. We have to depend on Krishna. We really want Him. That's when it can happen. That means we have to do something about it. We have to follow the absolute truth and instructions of the Shastra, Krishna's instruction in Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam. Then only we can come. It is not easy. Process is easy, but because we are filled up with so much unwanted things, garbage in the brain, then we are not able to take it up. So that is our problem. So that's why we have to start filling it up with good things. Then naturally all the garbage will go away slowly and gradually. When everything is filled up with this absolute truth, then we will be able to come to this perfection. So I think time is already 9:10. So I'll stop here. There are a lot more to discuss. Let me say about the personal form of the Lord. So the Paramatma is secondary aspect. The yogis, those who are meditating in the Paramatma form, on that form which is there as super soul within the heart, because dhyana vastita tadgatena manasa pasyantyam yogino. So they are meditating on that particular form which is there in the heart. So then they enter into the Brahma Jyoti. They are also enter into Brahma Jyoti. They will not enter into Vaikuntha. They can fall down also. So that's why the neither through karma nor through jnana nor through yoga we can attain Krishna. We can attain Vaikuntha. We can attain spiritual world. There is no way we can attain it. Only by bhakti. That's why in the 6th chapter, after explaining about all these yogas, Krishna is saying, Yoginam api sarvesham madgate nantaram. Only those who are perform bhakti, then they can enter into. Mat gateya means mat means me. When they attach, take shelter of me, then they can come to me. Yanti devratan devan pitrun yanti pitruvatan bhutan yanti pujeje majjajino mam. Those who are worshipping, they come to me. They are worshipping different demigods, they will go to their planets. If they are worshipping these Bhotas and Pichasas, then they go to them. If they are worshipping forefathers, Aryama, then there is a downward, all the way at the bottom planet, there is a forefather planet. Then they go to that planet. So in this way, Shastra is clearly laying out every detail. There is no ambiguity, there is no confusion. Everything is crystal clear. So that's why Prabhupada is able to mention everything in detail with crystal clear. No ifs and buts, no I may think or this or that. It is very clear, confidently, because he has completely realized it and is able to say everything with examples with a full conviction and determination. So in this way, when the personal form is actually just like us, we can see we have eyes and 2 hands, 2 legs. Same as Supreme Lord Shri Krishna, actually we are made after him. So that's why, because Krishna has 2 hands, 2 legs, same way like us, he appears like us. So that's why he is actual. That is the original form. So, but that itself has many details. That actually Krishna's form, Krishna has many. This Leela Tattva has many incarnates, 6 types of incarnates. But I'm not talking about that. Actually, these 6 types of incarnations are also categorized in a certain way. There is a Tadekatma, Swayam Rupa, and then one more is there, 3. Within that, there are again subcategories: Prabhava, Vibhava, and then Vilasa, much more complicated and detailed. So, when in that personal form, so that's why the absolute truth to be understood, it takes time. Slowly, gradually, we study and we hear. Then, in this way, we will be able to understand. So, now with that, we'll stop here. We'll continue in the next Saturday class with this verse, and then maybe next verse. With that, we'll stop here. Thank you very much. We will not take questions. Already 9:13. Mataji, if you are there, go ahead and sing that Narottam Das Thakur bhajan. Gaurang.
Okay. Yeah, Gauranga Dusipada. Can you hear me okay?
Yes. Yes, Mother, go ahead.
Are you going to follow or do I just sing it by myself?
You can sing yourself because of the time.
Okay. Okay.
I'll also try to share it.
Gaurange. Should I start?
Yeah, go ahead.
Gaurangera Dutipada Jaradana Sampada Se Jane Bhakti Rasasa Se Jane Bhakti Rasasa Gaurangera Madhulila Jara Karne Praveshila Hridaya nirmala belotara Hridaya nirmala belotara Je Gaurangir namaloy Tara moy premodoy Tare moy jaye bolihari Tare moi jaye bolihari Gauranga gunete jure Nitya lila tare spure Se jana bhakti adhikari Se jana bhakti adhikari Gaurangera sangi gane Nitya siddha kori mane Se jai Brajendra Sutapasa Se jai Brajendra Sutapasa श्री गौरमंडल भूमि जेवा जाने चिंतामणि तर होय ब्रज भूमि वास तर होय ब्रज भूमि वास गौर प्रेम रसानवे श्वेतरंगे जीवादुवे से राधा माधवांतरंगा से राधा माधवांतरंगा गृहे वावनेते थाके हा गौरंग बोले दाके नरोत्तमा मागे तर संगा नरोत्तमा मागे तर संगा गौरंगेर दुतिपद जारे दान संपद से जाने भक्ति रस सार से जाने भक्ति रस सार हरे कृष्ण.
Thank you so much. I'll quickly read the translation, very important. The last fourth verse is very important, and the first verse is also very important points. The translation: anyone who has accepted the two lotus feet of Lord Chaitanya can understand the true essence of devotional service. If one is captivated by the pleasing pastimes of Lord Chaitanya, the dirty things in his heart will all become cleansed. One who simply takes the holy name of Gaurasundara, Sri Krishna Chaitanya, will immediately develop love of God. To such a person I say, bravo, very nice, excellent. If one appreciates the merciful pastimes of Lord Chaitanya and feels ecstasy and sometimes cries, this process will immediately help him to understand the eternal pastimes of Radha and Krishna. Simply by understanding that the associates of Lord Gauranga are eternally free from material contamination, one can immediately be promoted to the transcendental abode of Lord Krishna. If one simply understands that the land of Navadvipa is not different from Vrindavana, then he actually lives in Vrindavana. If one says, let me dive deep into the waves of nectarian ocean of transcendental loving movement introduced by Lord Chaitanya, he immediately becomes one of the confidential devotees of Radha and Krishna. It does not matter whether one is a householder living at home or vanaprastha or sannyasi living in the forest. If he chants O Gauranga and becomes a devotee of Lord Chaitanya, then Narottam Das begs to have his association. You can see how beautiful this verse is, because Lord Chaitanya has given the highest process so easily to be attainable by simply chanting the holy name of the Lord and following his process. Kiba jagarane kiba shene aharnisha, what is that? Chanting the holy name, thinking about Krishna while sleeping, while eating, while doing each and every minute. This is the consciousness of the gopis of Vrindavan. So they are constantly thinking in that way. That is what Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has come to give, the highest thing, highest love. So that's why the six tattvas we have gone through: Krishna tattva, Rasa, Prema tattva, Bhakti tattva, then Prema tattva. Because without understanding Bhakti, first we have to understand who is Krishna. Then there is a relation to Bhakti, because we are doing for Bhakti for who? For Krishna. So that's the first Krishna tattva. We have to understand what is energies, who he is he Brahman or is he Paramatma or is he Bhagavan? So what he is. So that first we have to understand. Then okay, I understood now. Let me perform Bhakti. So then we come to the Bhakti tattva. Okay, after Bhakti leads to what? Then ultimately leads to Prema. But before, do we get directly Prema? No. It goes through the Vaidhi Sadhana Bhakti, and then in between there is a Bhava, ecstatic symptom. That is also at a higher stage. And then that's why there is a Bhava Tattva. That is a ecstatic transformations. And then that leads to Rasa Tattva, because there are different rasas. 5 primary rasas, 7 secondary, total 12 rasas. So then that ultimately, that is the Rasa Tattva, then Leela Tattva. So then that within that rasa there are different leelas. Krishna is performing different leelas. Madhurya leela. In this verse also it is mentioned. Gaurangera Madhur leela jare karna praveshila. So Then Hridaya Nirmala Beletar. So by hearing the Gauranga's pastimes, Krishna's pastimes, sweet pastimes, similar verse is there in a similar verse about Krishna. Same way, Gauranga Madhur Leela, same way. Krishna Madhur Leela. So I forget the verse exactly. I sent it recently. So that's similarly also. So both are non-different. Krishna and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, there is no difference. So by hearing and understanding the Tattva, then we will be able to really perfect our life very quickly. So with that, we will sing Damodarashtakam pretty quickly. Already late. This Tattva is unending. So each verse is like that only. So Bhagavatam, there is no end to it. So Damodarashtakam, anybody else want to sing? Gandharvika, you are there? You want to sing? Gandharvika want to sing the Damodarashtakam?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Only one time, don't repeat. So, yeah, go ahead. Sharing it.
गोकुले प्रजमानम् यशोदावियो लोकलाघवमानम् परं दृष्टम् आद्यन्तात् तृतीयगोप्या रुदन्तं मुहुर्नेत्र युग्ममृजन्तम् करं भोजयुग्मेन तङ्कनेत्रं मुहुश्वासकं पात्रि रेखकान्त सितग्रैवं दामोदरं भक्तिपथं यति दृक्स्वलीलाभिर् आनन्दकुण्डे स्वघोषं निमाजन्तं माख्यापयान्तं ततीयेषितघ्नेषु भक्तचित्तत्वं पुनः प्रेमतस्तं सतं वृत्तिवन्दे वरं देवमोक्षं न मोक्षमतिं वा नचन्यं वनेहं वारे वारे तदपीया इदं देव पूर्णाता गोपालबालं सदा मे मनस्यं वीरश्च किमन्ये इदं ते मुखं भोजम् अत्यन्तनीलैः वृतं कुण्डलैः स्निग्धरक्तैश्च गोप्या मुहुश्चम्बितं बिम्बरक्तादरं मे मनस्या विराष्ट्रं मालं लक्ष्यलभ्ये नमो देव दामोदर आनन्द विष्णु प्रसिद्ध प्रभु दुःखाजालब्धिमग्नं कृपादृष्टिवृष्याति दीनं बतानुग्रहणेश मामजं चक्षिदृश्य कुबेरात्मजौ बाधामृतैव यद्वत् स्वयं मोचितौ भक्तिभाजौ कृतौ च तथा प्रेम भक्तिं स्वकं मे प्रयच्छ न मोक्षे ग्रहोऽसि सीतामुदरेया नमस्ते सुधाम्ने स्फुरदितिधाम्ने त्वदीयोदराय त्वा विश्वस्य धाम्ने नमो राधिकाय त्वा प्रियप्रियाय नमो अन्तलीलाय देवयतुभ्यम्.
Damodarashtakam ki jai. Let me quickly read translation. You have to take a little bit break. Yeah, so then it will be even more nice. So to the Supreme Lord, whose form is embodiment of eternal existence, knowledge and bliss, whose sharp-shaped earrings are swinging to and fro, who is beautifully shining in the divine realm of Gokula, who, due to the offense breaking the pot of the yogurt that his mother was churning into butter and then stealing the butter that was kept hanging from a swing, is quickly running from a wooden grinding mortar in fear of Mother Yashoda, but who has been caught from behind by her, who ran after him with a greater speed. To that Supreme Lord Sri Damodara, I offer my humble obeisances. Second, seeing the whipping stick in his mother's hand, he is crying and rubbing his eyes again and again with his two lotus hands. His eyes are filled with fear, and necklace of pearls around his neck, which is marked with 3 lines of like a conch shell, is shaking because of his quick breathing due to crying. To this Supreme Lord, Sri Damodara, whose belly is bound not with ropes, but with his mother's pure love, I offer my humble obeisances. So this is what you can understand the Leela Tattva. This comes under that. And Prema Tattva and Rasa Tattva. You can see how Damodar is performing with Radha Damodar is performing with Yashodamai, mother. By such childhood pastimes as this, he is drowning the inhabitants of Gokula in pools of ecstasy, and is revealing to those devotees who are absorbed in knowledge of his supreme majesty and opulence that he is only conquered by devotees whose pure love is imbued with intimacy and is free from all conceptions of awe and reverence. That means there is no master and servant kind of relationship. This is much more higher in those Rasa Tattva. This is talking about. With great love, I again offer my obeisances to Lord Damodara hundreds and hundreds of times. Therefore, O Lord, although you are able to give all kinds of benedictions, I do not pray to you for the boon of impersonal liberation, which talked about, nor the highest liberation of eternal life in Vaikuntha, nor any other boon, because they are looking for love, not for liberation, which may be obtained by executing the 9 processes of bhakti. O Lord, I simply wish that this form of yours as Bala Gopala in Vrindavana may ever be manifest in my heart, for what is the use to me of any other boon besides this? O Lord, your lotus face, which is encircled by lakhs of soft black hair tinged with red, is kissed again and again by Mother Yashoda, and your lips are reddish like the bimba fruit. May this beautiful vision of your lotus face be ever manifest in my heart. Thousands and thousands of other benedictions of no use to me. Krishna's face is explained as 24 and a half moons. You can, one moon itself, so much light we get, especially on Purnima day. Imagine 24 and a half moons of face of the Supreme Lord. You can imagine how much bright and brilliant. O Supreme Godhead, I offer my obeisance unto you. O Damodara, O Ananta, O Vishnu, O Master, O my Lord, be pleased upon me by showering your glance of mercy upon me. Deliver this poor ignorant fool who is immersed in the ocean of worldly sorrows and become invisible to my eyes. O Lord Damodara, just as the 2 sons of Kuvera, Manigriva and Nalakuvara were delivered from the curse of Narada and made into great devotees by you in your form as a baby, tied with rope to a wooden grinding mortar, in the same way, please give me your own Prema Bhakti. I only long for this and have no desire for any kind of liberation. O Lord Damodara, just as I first of all offer my obeisances to the brilliantly effulgent rope which binds your belly. I then offer my obeisance to your belly, which is the abode of the entire universe. I humbly bow down to your most beloved Srimati Radharani, and I offer all obeisances to you, the Supreme Lord, who displays unlimited pastimes. So, in this way, we understand Damodara Ashtakam ki jai, Shri Radha Damodar ki jai. With that, we will stop here. Thank you very much for